It's US President Donald Trump who has gone on to say that he's not looking at lowering tariffs as far as India is concerned after the US doubled as far as the tariffs are concerned. Now, India faces 50% tariffs. This is a punishment for basically buying Russian oil. Now, he asserted that India has had good relationships, but it's been a one-sided relationship. That is what Donald Trump has gone on to say, while US Congressman Ro Khanna has hit out at Trump, saying that Trump's ego is killing ties that have been in the works for years and years, and all that work that has gone into strengthening ties with India and the US going down the drain because of Donald Trump.
Are you considering taking away some of the tariffs that you've imposed on India?
No, we get along with India very well. But India you have to understand, for many years, it was a one-sided relationship. Only now, since I came along, and because of the power that we have with tariffs, India was charging us tremendous tariffs, about the highest in the world. They were about the highest in the world, number one. And we, therefore, weren't doing much business with India, but they were doing business with us because we weren't charging them foolishly. We weren't charging them. So they would send in massive, everything they made, they'd send it in, pour it into our country. Therefore, it wouldn't be made here, which is a negative.
The co-chair of the U.S.-India caucus, I want to sound the 5-alarm fire on what Donald Trump is doing to destroy the U.S.-India partnership. He's undermining 30 years of bipartisan work to strengthen the U.S.-India alliance. He has imposed a 50% tariff on India, higher than any other country other than Brazil. It's a higher tariff than the tariff on China. It is hurting India's exports of leather and textiles into the United States, and it's hurting American manufacturers and our exports into India. It is also driving India towards China and towards Russia. Now, why is this happening? For very simple reasons. Prime Minister Modi refused to nominate Donald Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, Pakistan did. And India has said that the border dispute with Pakistan is an internal matter, refusing to give Donald Trump credit. We can't allow the ego of Donald Trump to destroy a strategic relationship with India that is key to ensuring that America leads and not China. To all those Indian Americans who voted for Donald Trump, I'm asking you, where are you today while he destroys this relationship?
Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office on Tuesday, US President Donald Trump said the US gets on very well with India. But he reiterated his charge against the country over tariffs, saying that for many years it had been a one-sided relationship, saying that New Delhi has imposed, quote, tremendous tariffs on US imports, he said about the highest in the world, while American markets were open to Indian goods. And as an example of what he describes as unfair trade, he used the US motorcycle company Harley-Davidson, saying that the iconic US brand couldn't sell in India because of a 200% tariff on motorcycles. So Harley-Davidson built a plant in India and now it doesn't have to pay tariffs. He said that is the same thing as us. Now, the US tariffs on India came despite months of negotiations, with US trade negotiators saying they were exasperated with India's protectionist policies. Mr. Trump had set a 25% duty on Indian exports, but doubled that to 50% last week as a punishment for the purchase of Russian oil. Now, the US is India's biggest export market, and those levies have hit more than 55% of goods. Mr. Trump has expressed frustration over India's continued purchases of Russian energy, but New Delhi says it is needed to keep its oil prices low. Critics say that such energy purchases by India and China help to keep Russia's economy afloat and undercut sanctions against Moscow, which are aimed at bringing an end to the war in Ukraine. And on Tuesday, President Trump also addressed that war, saying that he was watching very closely to see how Russian President Vladimir Putin handled efforts to set up a meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky, insinuating that he was considering additional measures if talks don't progress. Kate Fisher, NDTV, Washington.